right, welcome everybody. Good to see everyone. You saw our trade deadline over the last 3-4 days and open up to questions.
When you approached this trade deadline, I guess, what did you identify as your biggest needs, and do you feel like you got what you needed for those?
It was a unique trade deadline, and I think I've mentioned this before because of the Olympics and the condensed schedule, going to the Olympics, shutting down potential injuries. And that was the reason I think when I talked to many of you before, I needed to wait till after the Olympics. And as we saw, we had some injuries take place. And so it was, we had to show patience that way. And because of the injuries, that's why we had to make the moves we made. And we're pretty happy with the players we obtained. They addressed our needs. And especially when you look at the assets you had to give up and fitting into the cap situation.
How important was the assets in the cap? Was it much more important this year or much more difficult than it was last year?
No, I don't think any more difficult. Last year was kind of the same situation. Last year we lost Miro, Nils Lundqvist, can't remember if there's anybody else, and had to make those changes. That had adjusted the cap also. Really no different. We were fortunate and unfortunate. You lose a player like Segi, but we're fortunate to be able to use his cap situation to obtain the players we did.
With Tyler, how did that process go, and how close was he to being able to return at some point in the season?
It was very good. When Tyler had the injury, we pretty well knew he's probably, historically that's an 8 to 10 month injury. It's not something you can speed up. Tyler, I think you guys saw when he had the hip surgery, he sped that up, and that shows his commitment, the work he put into getting back earlier. And he's got that same drive, wanting to do it with this, but it's something you can't really speed up. Yes, you can speed it up to a point, but really it comes down to Mother Nature and just healing time. So we knew it was going to be hard for him to be back in time to be part of the team. You get to the finals, could he be there? Yes, maybe. But we signed with Tyler. He was very good. He was disappointed because he still's got that drive in him, but he's also excited to know that his setback is something positive for us to take advantage of. That's what we did.
Jim, how much of your... Sorry, go ahead.
How challenging was it this year with how well you guys had played going into a trade deadline and finding where you might need to address needs or not have to address needs?
Well, that's the balancing act of this. We were comfortable. The team's played great. The team's playing well. It's been a lot of adversity this season with the injuries. You go back to training camp. We lost Jamie Benn. We've lost players all along the way. And Liam Bischel, I remember just when he played the other night, looking in November 30th was when we lost him. It's been 3 months. So our guys have really battled. The coaches have done a great job, and so you got to be aware of that. But also, I'm really concerned about the schedule as we move forward. We're playing starting tonight. It's every second day for the next 4 to 6 weeks, pretty well, and concerned about that. Unfortunately, we had the injuries we had at the Olympics, and so I knew we needed to add some depth, and also wanted to give a boost to the players. But they're playing very well, and you don't want to tinker when things are well.
How much of the trading did you do to make your team better, but also in the back of your mind, know what the playoff matchups might probably look like?
Yeah, I'm less worried about the matchups. Now, I think we know what the matchups are, but less worried about that. It's really about our team playing the right way, filling in the right weaknesses we may have or don't have, just making sure prepared. It was more making sure we had enough depth because of our unfortunate injuries at the Olympics and having enough depth with the schedule coming up.
How much do you think, though, the moves, the Avs obviously made the move today, the Wild made some moves. How do you think these moves may change the end of this stretch and into the playoffs for this division, this conference?
Well, I think all the teams in our division made great moves, including ourselves, so it got better. I tip my hats to I was just talking to somebody else up in Canada, and all these teams have great coaches, great players, great management. They've done a good job, and that's why these teams are where they're at. But that's the exciting part about this. Great challenge for us, and we're in the mix with those teams, so it's good.
Like you said, injuries and depth and all that. Any clear idea on Miko yet, or is it still?
Yeah, Miko, hopefully he starts skating here in the next week, 10 days. And then from there, we'll see how he comes along. You know, since I'm sharing injuries, we've been kind of quiet on Radek Faksa. I'll discuss that now. Radek got injured in the Olympics, was coming back and was rehabbing in a pretty good spot to start playing again, and unfortunately got injured. Got a lower body injury during his skating and working out to get back at it. And he's going to be out just so that the coach, I'll help the coach out so you guys don't bug him all the time now. I'll probably out hopefully just before the playoffs or right when the playoffs start. That's what the plan is, but we'll have to see how the rehab comes along. That was a big loss for us. That kind of changed our direction also. We knew the Miko thing at the Olympics. We expected Radek to come back. I was over there with him when he got his injury, and he expected to just be back, out maybe a week. And then he got this injury doing the rehab, and that set him back.
How much, if at all, was your ability to make moves affected by the league changing the salary cap rules last fall?
It comes into play, but not as much as you think. We'd planned for that. You plan as much as you can. We didn't anticipate the injuries we're going to have. The Tyler Seguin injury, you don't plan for that. But once that happened, now you adjust how you look at things. We knew there was an opportunity maybe there to use his salary for our advantage. So you adjust as you go. And that's why I went into this deadline. I don't know what's going to happen the next 6 weeks. Nobody does. This is a whole different world. The whole different season this year. With the condensed schedule, the Olympic break, coming out of a break, nobody knows. So we want to make sure we are the most prepared with our depth that we could to give us the most success moving forward.
Do you have any more clarity about potentially re-signing Jason Robertson at this point? I know you added a little bit with Myers signed for next year, but do you have any more clarity on where that is?
No real clarity. I met with his agent. I saw him over at the Olympics in Milan. We talked briefly there, and we pretty well discussed, we want the focus to be on the rest of the season and the playoffs, and then we'll work on it from there.
You're carrying 9 defensemen on the roster right now. What went into that decision to keep Capobianco on the roster and not make him eligible for the AHL playoffs? How did you guys figure that out?
Well, first of all, I talked about the injuries and the condensed schedule. We need all hands on deck we can. I talked to the coaches. Are they comfortable with 9 defensemen? They're very comfortable. And if we would have put him, for him to be eligible to the American League, he would have to go on waivers. And I anticipated, I got a pretty good feel for the market. I don't think he would have cleared. So we would have lost him. And that's why I talked to our coaching staff. They had no problems at 9. We're playing every second night. It's going to give us some flexibility. So we just didn't want to lose him for nothing.
Were you looking at it? Oh,
I was just gonna say, can you just give us a comment on each of the players and what you liked about them and why they're the right fit for this team?
The players I obtained? Yes. Well, Tyler Myers, I've seen him for a long time, going back to him and Jamie playing junior in Kelowna and watch him in World Juniors. He's a big man. He skates well for a big man. Anytime you can add big trees like this to your back end, especially when you start going into the playoffs. You guys have seen it the last 3-4 years. So the playoffs are a grind, and size becomes important. And his wingspan, he's a veteran. He plays hard. He can eat up big minutes. And a great character. Great, we got a great dressing room here, and we don't want anything to mix that up. And I know he's high in character, so that's what he brings to us, which is a lot, and not easy to find. And then with Bunting, we've seen him lots playing against Nashville. He plays hard. He's got good skill. We thought, we lost Tyler, and we're trying to look. You're not going to be able to replace a Tyler Seguin, Mikko Ratnan who gets injured. You're not finding those guys. And if you are, the price you're going to pay, we couldn't do that anyways. So he's a guy that can fit into that top 6, top 9. He can move up and down your lineup. He can play with skilled players. He can play, different roles, and he plays hard. He plays playoff style hockey.
You mentioned both Petrovic and Capobianco and the chances that you could have lost those players on waivers. But is it in some way kind of a little bit of a, nod to the fact that they have contributed all season long to help you guys be where you are to kind of keep them here for a playoff run?
Yeah, well, yeah, they've been a big part of our team. You know, we go back to the start of the season, the injuries we had, you know, those guys, were they projected to be on our team, who knows? But right from the start, we had injuries, so they had to come in and fill in, and have done a great job. So, yes, there's loyalty, but, you know, in the end, I got to make the right decisions for the team, and the right decision was to keep those guys. They deserve to be here, and I get back to, once again, it's about depth right now. The next 6 weeks, and then hitting the playoffs. You know, you guys saw last year how quick, you know, all of a sudden we lost Nils Lundqvist, and a week later we lost Miro Heiskanen. And this team deserves to have that opportunity to have put the best team in the ice in the event of injuries. So those guys have been a big part of it. They've played well. And because of that, that's why if we put them on waivers, they weren't clearing. They were getting picked up by other teams. So it's just not the right thing to do.
Were you close on any other deals, whether it was about creating more cap space or bringing in more help? Were there some other things that came close to getting done?
Well, there was a lot of talk. Yes, a lot of talk. And we had to have situations that fit, first of all, assets. You know, I've been a bad GM here the last 3 years. I've been giving away first round picks like they're candy and stuff. So we don't have a lot of assets that way. And so it has to be the right fit. And then financially, you know, cap wise, it's got to be the right fit also. And so there was a lot of different things going on, a lot of talk. A lot of things came down to the wire. But we were fortunate to get a lot of our work done the day before, which made it a little bit more relaxing, that if something fell in our lap, we could do it, but if not, it wasn't a pressure point.
Just Fox's timeline, the fact that he looks like he'll be back around the start of the playoffs, did that take the pressure off of trying to maybe find someone to replace him or help that position?
Did it? Not really, probably the opposite. You know, we come out of the Olympic break, I knew Mikko got hurt, I knew Radek got hurt in Milan also, but talking with him over there, I knew he was coming back pretty quick. And all of a sudden this happened the week after the Olympics, just when we're starting up. That kind of changed the tune a little bit. You know, Radek's a big part of this team, and he's a big, heavy body. Hard to find those type of guys. And so we knew we probably had to fill in a little bit of void there. That's where Bunting comes into play a little bit, plays the same style of hockey. And you know what? We've been very fortunate. We're on this 10-game run. The evolution of some of the players have probably made it a little bit easier. What the Ritzkovians, the Borks, you know, Bastian, Ernie, Blackwell, the job these guys have done have kind of took the pressure off that way, but I wanted to make sure we had enough depth in the event of injuries. You guys ready for warm-up? Well, thank you for your time. Yep, take care. Yep, bye-bye.